Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. My name is Matt Harvey. I am your host of the Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. I am also the founder and lead investigator with Deep Woods Paranormal. Along with my wife Amanda and others, we investigate everything paranormal in nature, be it Bigfoot, UFO, ghosts, aliens, hauntings, demonic activity, you name it, we investigate it. So let's start out with some quick housekeeping here, because a lot of people are asking me a lot of things. How's the show going? When are we expecting to see it come out? Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera. But I'll show you in just a second here. Actually, let me share my screen. Let me see here. Let me share my screen. Let me show you. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to play this again. This is basically what the intro is going to kind of look like. Now I've decided I'm going to change it, but this is what I basically have so far. So let me play this for you. Let me turn the volume up on the audio here, because you won't be able to hear it without it up. All right, so that's pretty much where we're at. I'm going to stop sharing that. All right, so hopefully that got recorded. So yeah, we're gonna be working on that a little bit. We're gonna make some changes. I'm gonna turn the volume back down just a little so we don't blow everybody's ears out. All right, so yeah, we're working on a different intro. I think Amanda and I are gonna do another quick intro. But the last part you saw that explains what we investigate will basically be there. That's going. We're actively investigating locations, and we'll be putting shows together here in the next couple, 3 or 4 weeks, hopefully. And you'll see our first show, hopefully month and a half, if I really work my butt off, which I'm doing. So I'm hoping to get them out before that, but we'll see. I want to have enough shows recorded so that if I get a little bit behind and work gets crazy again or something else happens, I'm able to have stuff to produce for you guys. Plus I do the podcast and everything too. So we'll kind of talk about, we might have like an after the show podcast where Man and I sit down and we just talk about things that we've experienced on those investigations. So, all right. Also, want to thank everybody. God, we got so many comments, so many people contacting us. New Bigfoot reports, new UFO reports. So thank you guys so much for all the information. We're really looking into the cattle mutilations that are going out here. I saw something in the night sky the other night. I recorded it. I've taken pictures of the moon. I've taken pictures of the moon twice, actually 2 different nights. One night it was super cloudy. The other night it wasn't. So you guys can compare. When I put the show together, I'll show you that. It'll be on the show. But I captured something strange in the sky. I just don't know what it is. And again, you'll have to wait for the show to see that. But I did a whole video on it. I literally left work and followed this thing all the way home. I work about 18 miles away. And this thing moved across the night sky, and I just couldn't tell what it was. It kept changing shapes and size and all this other stuff and color. It was weird. So, okay. So let's see. We've had some more Bigfoot reports here along the Brazos Valley. So that's kind of what we're going to cover today for the Bigfoot podcast. We're going to talk about more and more sightings have been taking place along the Brazos River here in Texas. And I live pretty close to the Brazos River, and I drive along it a lot at night for work and stuff like that. And so we kind of want to talk about that. We'll also talk about Dogman a little bit and maybe some skinwalkers, because a friend of mine has some strange activity going on his ranch, and he lives up in the Hearn area, which is just let's see, kind of north of us. towards Dallas. It's not very far. It's up where I work. So let's get into this. Let me share my screen again with you guys. I want to show you these. So, all right. So again, our focus is going to be along the Brazos River. The reason for that is I wanted to talk about different things that are happening along the Brazos River. Let me just zoom out for a second here. This is the wrong place. Well, we'll talk about this too. This is kind of the Brazos River up here. So I don't know if this is the map where I took. I don't think this is the right map. One of the maps I'm going to show you, I took all the other things off and only left the Bigfoot and Cryptid reports. But here's kind of where I live in the College Station area. And then, we head up north here. Let me zoom in a little for you. So I live down here in College Station. And if you head up the 6 towards Dallas, you should be able to find Hearn somewhere. So here's the 6 freeway. Where is Hearn? It's not that far away. Hammond, no, that's too far. So essentially, we're going to be talking about what's going on along the Brazos River. And the Brazos River kind of goes back and forth. It kind of winds back and forth from up on the Fort Worth area, and then it kind of winds down, all the way into College Station and just past us. So our area used to be a river bottom. Excuse me, my nose is itching. So essentially, we're going to be talking about kind of this general area right here. And there's a lot of activity in the central. There's a lot more activity than I actually thought in the central Texas area. When we first moved here, we were driving here, driving around. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of forest here. And what's happened is we're like where we live, where there's actually towns and stuff. It's been deforested. And then on the outskirts of those deforested areas is a lot of farms. There's a lot of farms out here, a lot of cattle and stuff like that, hence the cattle mutilations. There's a very high concentration of cattle in our area, especially along the 6 and stuff as you head towards Dallas. But this whole area seems to be a hot spot for paranormal activity, and you can see all the pens. Ignore the yellow ones, ignore the green ones, but we're going to start out here. This is Bigfoot Reports. I may have talked about this before, but we're going to go right back into it just for a minute here. So this gentleman, let me see if I can blow this picture up. Okay, can't get any bigger than that. Looks like it was taken with a cell phone, and it shows what looks to be, and again, you guys got to take this with a grain of salt. It's a very far away picture. It's very small. These could just be shadows from the trees. It could just be the way the tree line is. It could be a lot of things. It could be this one here. It could be a tree trunk, and this other one could be, again, like you can see a tree trunk here, but the leaves kind of come over. So it could be it could just be a misidentification. He was there. He knows. So he was hearing things and saw things. I'll go into his report in just a second. But you see what looks like possibly 2 figures here. So if you're watching the podcast, you'll be able to see this. If you aren't watching the podcast, feel free to come over to our YouTube channel or Rumble channel if you don't like YouTube. And the links are down below in the description, and you can actually watch this. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go back into his story. And, too far. All right. So I'm not going to give out his name or anything like that, but he said he felt a chill as he looked across the block bayou at a line of trees about 100 yards away. So that's about 300 feet. It says, I'm not crazy. I do not do drugs, and I'm not a drinker, he said before telling his tale of seeing not only 1, but 2 Bigfoots like creatures huddled together on one December morning. So it could have been cold. This is down in the Houston area, by the way. There's a lot of reports in and around, not in, but around Houston, believe it or not. What people don't realize is Houston's a huge area. I mean, it's just a massive, massive area. But all surrounding it is all woodlands. It's all woodlands. And even in parts of Houston, there's thickets everywhere. So they may not be large, but they're good size. So the Nederland, Texas native visits Oak Bluff Creek, Oak Bluff Cemetery about once a month to clean the graves of a friend and a cousin. Something that he's been doing for years. Well, incident, but it says on an overcast, windless day, he says he got the fright of his life. He said he heard a blood curdling scream, and a lady nearby asked him if he was okay, and he told her it wasn't me. He walked over to the water and looked to the left and straight ahead. He said what he saw amazed him. Two Bigfoot-like creatures had been throwing rocks in the water, looking across at him from, let's see, two Bigfoot-like creatures who had been throwing rocks in the water looked at him looked across at him from, and the female, let's see. Okay, let me try this again. He said what he saw next amazed him. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just butchering the heck out of this. It says two Bigfoot-like creatures who had been throwing rocks in the water looked across at him and the unknown female, which was the lady that asked him if he was okay. It says one was standing next to a tree, and that's the one we were seeing a minute ago. And it says arms under the trunk of the tree, and the other one was squatting down. As the second creature rose from the crouching position, he estimates the creature was about 8 feet tall. So he snapped a photo with his phone, and that's what we were talking about earlier. He said all of a sudden they started walking, then running through the woods. He said of the bipedal creatures. He said when they began to run, the lady said, "I'm leaving," and left. And I said I stayed for a few more seconds, and then they basically were gone. They stayed for a few more seconds, and then thought they were maybe a way for them to cross. Okay, so basically he thought they were going to cross a river. The way they word some of this stuff is just weird. So he said he could see the creature's face as clear as day, and it basically there was hair from the mouth down to let's see, there was hair from the mouth down like a man, and when the creature turned, he could see the hair hanging down its arms. Okay, this is like I said, they just word this very strangely. So he basically went home and watched a episode of Finding Bigfoot and had to change the channel when they played the audio recording. It basically sounded just like what he had heard, I'm guessing. Okay, so anyways, let's talk about this. So basically he's down. Let's go back to where he was. So again, you got all this green area here, all this lush green area. This is all pretty much forest. And you can see all the little blue dots in this area. And then down where he was is a blue dot next to it, and another blue dot, and another blue dot. There's a cluster here of sightings. Even if you go further out into the forest here, there's more sightings. So I think somewhere around here too, there was also a sighting of a Bigfoot basically down in the ocean, and it was basically in the waves, and it was basically diving under and grabbing something from under the water. So, anyways, all right. So he was in this area, and you can see that it's pretty green across the way. It doesn't look like there's much of anything going on. It says Lower Neches WMA, which I don't know what that means. There's wildlife management here, so I'm guessing this is like a refuge for animals. So maybe it came across from this area here into where he was. Essentially, he said that he saw it across the river. So this is the cemetery itself here. And so if we're looking across the way, some of this looks like are these mausoleums, maybe? Let's see if we can get this little guy to drop down. Nope. Shoot, I want to see what's down there. So this is a cemetery here. Praying hands. What I want to do is I want to get a visual. Come on, give me the little guy. Ah, here we go. Okay. So this gives us a visual. Again, it's very green. I don't know why that's. Notice right here, it's all blurred out. Look at how the tree is blurred out. They blurred something out here. And this is all hazy, but you go next one, and it's not hazy, but it's hazy here. Isn't that interesting? Look right here. Now, that could be lens flare, but why is this blurred out? What was up in the tree that they blurred out? Very interesting. So you go this way, and again, it's clear. Okay, so these must be homes? No. Yeah. So there must be homes along here too, where the cemetery is. Yeah, there's homes over here. That's interesting. Okay. So on the other side of the cemetery, there's actually homes along the river, it looks like. Okay, so let's see if we can get this guy to go back out. Let me see if I can get this to go back out. There we go. Okay, so it looks along the outside here, these are actually homes. But something could, a Bigfoot could easily come across here or come across over here or just cross across here. Look at this big patch of green. I mean, now that may not look like much to you, but that area there, that's massive. That's probably miles and miles and miles of forest line. And there's probably deer and all kinds of stuff in there. There's water here. There's water sources, probably food source in here. So I would imagine maybe it comes across here. There's a weird thing about Bigfoots and cemeteries. I'm not sure why that keeps happening. I'm just still doing research. Why would a Bigfoot go into a cemetery? But I'd imagine maybe these people have stories to tell about what's going on across here. But supposedly the Bigfoot was maybe on this side of the river, and that makes a lot of sense. It ran back into these woods, and again, you can basically, this whole area is all green, and look what's behind it. I mean, you got a big oil facility behind it, so there's nobody back here. I would imagine very few people are back in this area that see them, and if they are, they're not reporting anything. But look at this. This is strange. Look at the circles. What's with the circles? Oh, it's the river. Is that the river that's doing that? No, they're roads. Okay, so they've made weird circular patterns around here for some reason. I wonder if there's more oil derricks in here. All right, so let's see if we can just drop this little guy back here too. Let's see if we can drop him back here. Now I'm gonna let's drop this right next to one of those things. Okay, so this is what the woods look like on the other side. Again, weird blurred outness. Why did they blur this out? That's strange. Okay, so this is the other side of what we were just looking at, and it's fenced, and there's barbed wire. So essentially, that would be a safe area possibly for a Bigfoot-like creature to hang out and not have to worry about a whole lot of people coming in there, right? Okay. We've kind of talked about this one too much. But yeah, it's very interesting. So let's get back to the Brazos River. The rest of these should all be the Brazos River. All right. So this is a BFRO site, basically published sighting. And this is on the BFRO website. Some people like the BFRO, some people don't. I think I met Matt Moneymaker, and I met other people that are in this organization. And I think they're really cool, to be honest with you. So Matt's extremely smart, but we'll talk about him another day. Anyways, so this is daylight sighting on the Brazos River west of Weatherford. And we'll look at this location in just a second. So It says west of Weatherford, Texas, on the river itself, by itself, and no one else around. And it says observed. It says, hello, my name is Ricardo. On February 23rd of October 2020, my wife and I were uh, my wife and I were seeing if a restaurant in Texas was open so we could have lunch. It was around 1 p.m. The name of the restaurant is called the Catfish Cafe, just located west of Weatherford, Texas, on Interstate 20, right next to the Brazos River. Now, I looked for this restaurant. I can't find it. It doesn't come up on a Google search, so I'm not sure it's still there. So it says there was only one worker at the restaurant, and he told us the restaurant was not open until 4 p.m. So my wife and I decided to drive along the countryside in that area and kill some time until 4 p.m. Immediately just west of the restaurant, about 50 yards or so, is a bridge that goes over the Brazos River. And we'll take a look at that in just a second. So we headed across it and stopped in the center of the bridge to look at the river scenery when we spotted a huge dark figure on the river wading in the water around ankle deep. It says this thing was about a quarter mile north of the bridge. At first, we thought it could be a man was kicking in the water, chasing a possible fish or something. But looking at the object a little closer, we knew that it was not a man because it was just dark, tall, and hairy. We believe it was a Bigfoot looking for its meal. It says we stayed there on the bridge for about a good 5 minutes and no cars were coming. We drove around for a while after that and came back to the restaurant around 3:45 p.m. Stopped again on the bridge to see if that thing was still there. It wasn't. We then got our food and went back to our house in Weatherford. All right, so it says this is the only people they basically contact about this incident. Say also notice the thing was one solid color, hairy and dark, tall. Other witness, my wife and I witnessed it on top of the bridge overlooking the river. Other stories, it says I worked in the oil fields for many years and saw another Bigfoot close to the Brazos River between La Pan and Morgan Mills, Texas, and smelled another along the Brazos River in Granbury, Texas. It smelled like a dirty mop dipped in dung, which is, poop. So, all right, let's take a look and see where this happened. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. This is just a follow-up. I'll link this down below. You guys can take a look and if you want to look at this. All right, so here's where they were, essentially. They were driving along the 20, and Weatherford is just over here. Here's Weatherford right here. And they were driving along the 20. They came down here to have lunch. And they crossed the Brazos River up here. Moved my spot. So that thing was essentially seen in this general area around here. So you can kind of see, I don't want to zoom in too much. But I do want to drop a pen here if I can. I'm going to drop a pen here. See if I can drop a pen. Yeah, here we go. So they saw this Bigfoot basically cruising up the river, probably looking for food, I would imagine. And I don't know if it saw them or not, but you can see this whole area. It's very green, and not a lot of people are like right down on the river. If you look in here, I mean, this is a good area to kind of scavenge. Again, this whole area, I mean, there's got to be wildlife and everything along here. So it makes sense for these things to be down in this area. Are they using the river to kind of migrate down through Texas? Again, okay, so let me show you something here. So if we keep going out, so here's where that sighting was, and basically here's where we are. and the Brazos River basically goes kind of winds its way down this way and then keeps going past us a little ways. So that's definitely a place we will be checking out. Let's check out the next Brazos River story here. So it says, have you heard the stories about the Robertson County and how it became nicknamed the Booger County? It says Bigfoot is Robertson County Booger, and they call it the Booger Monster or whatever they call it. It says perhaps the most interesting explanation of why Robertson County is sometimes called Booger County comes from the files of the Bobby Hamilton, who is the GCBRO, Gulf Coast Bigfoot Research Organization. He's basically the founder of that. And he reports 3 attacks in the county by Bigfoot. So, Booger 1 attack, again, Bigfoot. And we'll look at these different areas. Now, Calvert, I drive through Calvert. It's a little tiny town along the 6, and the Brazos River runs right along it. It's an old historical town. It's a really cool looking little town, and unfortunately, it's kind of suffering a little bit because there's not a lot of tourism to it. But all right, so let's read more about this. It says Booger attack number 1. It says in the early 1970s, a Calvert, Texas witness claimed that a large aged man attacked his home. It reportedly tore off a piece of his roof and attacked his home. It says the witness labeled it as the porch monster, since at one point it was upon his porch when he first heard it. It says according to the website, locals have referred to this area as Booger County for a long time due to the attacks and so forth of the creature and that was roaming around there. So basically, it's a Bigfoot that basically came onto his property, and maybe it was a territorial attack. Maybe it was upset that he was there. I've heard a lot of reports, and I actually follow a gentleman on TikTok where things, there's something out in the woods, or multiple things out in the woods, and he has a gifting rock. It's really cool. I don't remember his name. Maybe I'll mention it on the next Bigfoot podcast. Anyways, okay, so it says this all happened, looks like, in the 1970s. It says Booger attack number 2. In the early 1970s, an unnamed Calvert, Texas farmer was cultivating his farm property on the banks of the Brazos River. He thought he noticed something moving around the tree line on the top of the riverbank. He said it was making a pass along the tree line, and in his effort to turn around his equipment, he became aware of exactly what it was he was seeing moving in the tree line. He saw an ape-man of sorts and advanced towards his tractor. An attempt to come aboard his tractor, which was at which point he bailed off the other side. He said to get away from it. The creature eventually gave up on whatever it was trying to do and jumped off the tractor and walked back towards the woods. The booger was described as being 7.5 to 8 feet tall, brown, covered with hair, and walked like a man, but was more of an ape man in appearance. So that's very interesting. Hold on 1 second. Let me just get a sip of my drink here. All right. So it says Booger attack number 3. And it says in the Brazos River bottoms outside of Calvert, once again in the early 1970s, an unnamed gentleman was riding his horse in some bottoms down by a tree line on the edge of the Brazos River. The gentleman's horse all of a sudden spooked and turned and bolted. He turned to see what could have spooked the horse, and saw an ape-like creature in heavy pursuit of them. They escaped the creature after getting to a safe location and getting his horse calmed down. The man was found some gash marks on the horse's buttocks area. It is not known for sure if this was done by the creature or brushed during the escape of the pursuit. It says the booger was ape-like in appearance, walked and ran on two legs, brown in color, 7 to 8 feet tall. All right, so let's take a look where this happened. So this is Calvert, and you can see so this Calvert's a very tiny town. Like I said, I drive along here along the 6, and you have a bunch of old historical buildings and some new ones too, but mainly old historical buildings where there's antiques and all the cool stuff. If you're ever looking for a haunted object, you might want to stop by Calvert. Anyways, so let's find the Brazos River. So yeah, the Brazos River is way out here, and to figure out where is the Brazos River? There it is. Okay, so to figure out exactly where basically this happened, it'd be very hard um, to pinpoint it exactly. So the Brazos River is way out here. There's another river here. I don't know what this river is. This is like an offshoot of the Brazos, but the Brazos River is over here. So yeah, I mean, it had to have happened out here somewhere in this area. I don't know if there's any road. Yeah, there's definitely roads out here. So this might be worth going to drive through. But look at this little, there's a country club here, but look at this big patch of green. Look at this. It looks like you got a fracking operation or oil drilling, whatever, out here, or maybe an old one. This might be no Lockout Bridge Road. Yeah, so essentially, I'm going to take my wife and we're going to have to cruise out here one of these days. I'm just taking a look around because I'm curious. Uh, this is interesting. Why is there these weird, like, shaped ponds? Makes you wonder if this was full of water at one point. These two areas here. This looks like it has a berm or something, but maybe this is basically private land and stuff like that. We'll have to find out. But yeah, there's a lot of there doesn't look like there's any roads. It looks like a road comes up here, it goes to the Calvert County Club, and then there's basically a roads to basically, it looks like there's a home here and a home here. These are probably dirt roads at this point. There's some water in here, and then essentially this whole area is just a big green area. Does not look like it's very well populated, if it's populated at all. Looks like it has another river coming through the middle of it, or into it, I should say. There's a lot of ponds and streams and creeks and stuff out here, a lot of rivers. This is a very wet area. Like I always say, if you cut Texas in half through the middle and look, from the middle over to the right, it's way more of a green belt than anything else. There's a lot of green territory out here. A lot of the forest out here has been cut down for farmers, but most of this area was just full of forest. It still is, but yeah, I mean, I can see, like somebody living on the outskirts of Calvert here somewhere and having by the Brazos River and having a Bigfoot sighting, because I mean, there's nothing out here. It's just there's just nothing. So it's definitely going to be worth a drive down here to take a look and maybe do some filming down here, see if we can get anything. I'm just looking at both sides of the river. See, here's the farm there. What does this say? There's a cemetery. And yeah, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot out here. Hungry Camp. What is this? Let's see if we can see some pictures. Welcome to Hungry Man Camp. Huh. This just looks like a place where people go to have a good time. Well, you can see he caught a big catfish or something. So that's interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Hungry Man Camp. Hmm. But look at all the green all around here. I mean, jeez. Look at all this green all along the Brazos River. Anyways, I'm just going and going here. All right. So let's go on to the next one. So it says two fishermen reported early morning road encounter while en route to Possum Kingdom Lake. And again, this is where the Brazos Valley meets a lake. It says that it occurred in April of 1990, and the location was Palo Pinto County in Texas. Um, so it says it was around 6 in the morning with good visibility. And here's the witness account. It says I was going trout fishing with a friend below the spillway at Possum Kingdom Lake, and we had taken Highway 4 north. It was fairly dark, but visibility was good. As we approached the bridge over the Brazos River, something was kneeling on the side of the road. On the road, but let's see. Sorry, let me try it again. As we approached the bridge over the Brazos River, something was kneeling on the road by some roadkill. When we heard, when the headlights shone on the scene, a tall, hairy being stood erect and ran across the road and down a steep bank towards the river. I got out of the truck and tried to go get a better look, but it was too dark to see anything. The figure was quite tall and covered in long dark hair all over its body. It moved rapidly with agility in the dark, in the dark right in front of us. It said it was not a bear. It says sounds. When I got out of the truck, I listened for noises, but it was silent. No strong odors were present, as the ground was too hard for footprints. Okay, so let's take a look at this one real quick. So this is Possum Kingdom. Let's take a look at where he saw this. So we need to find Highway 4 north real quick. Let's see if we can find this. What I'm doing is I'm putting the location in the GPS to see if I can find it. Oh, wow. I need to double check that. Let's see. It's Highway 4 north. So let me see if I can find Highway 4. That's a 16. That's the 254. Here's the Brazos River. So you can see the Brazos River spills into the Kingdom Lake. Let's see if we can find a place where it crosses. I'm guessing that that road is a like a very not used very much road. Let me see if I can do this and see if we can find it. No, it keeps coming back to this. So this is the boat launch area. So I'm wondering if it's, let's see. So this spills back in to the, bear with me, I'm looking for something. So I'm gonna have to guess it was somewhere around here. I'm guessing they were driving over this road here, probably heading towards a place to fish. I would guess they're probably going towards the lake here, and they probably um, cross Possum Kingdom's Stone Arch Bridge. I'm guessing that's where this location is. If I had to say it, let's see if we can get a. Ooh, look at that! All right, so this is what the um, bridge kind of looks like, and just imagine, oops, a Bigfoot basically, hunched down over somewhere along this area, along the road up here, grabbing some roadkill off the road. So this is a better picture. So basically, it was along here somewhere, and I'm guessing somebody probably hit a deer or something, and it basically was just being an opportunist and went to basically grab the prey. Yeah, I mean, this is not a bad place for a Bigfoot to be. So, yeah, very cool. Oops. All right, so let's continue on. This is our last location, and then next time we'll move on to a different subject. But I'm really interested in the Brazos River areas because they are so close to me. Number one, number two, Bigfoots are not known to be in these areas. Uh, it's just a closely kept secret. A lot of people do not like to talk about their Bigfoot reports out here. It's very hard to get anybody to talk about their sightings. All right, so this is on Facebook. This is the National Cryptid Society. I believe I'm a member of this. But it says Bigfoot carrying deer, Brazos River, Hood County, Texas. So let's go into the actual article. Okay, so again, this is what is this on? This is on phantomsandmonsters.com. Again, the link will be down below. And it kind of shows you along the Brazos River here. This is kind of what it looks like. And so, yeah, these pictures are not blowing up for some reason. But this is kind of what it looked like. You can see how lush and green it is around the Brazos River. I mean, it'd be real easy for a Bigfoot to hide in this area. Let me go back and we'll read the report here. All right. So it says the Brazos River, Granbury, Texas. It says I moved to Texas a year ago along the Brazos River area outside Granbury. One evening about 6 p.m., while driving down the OE Lane Rural Road, I've tried to find this, I can't find it. It says I saw what I know for a fact was one of these things run across the road in front of me with a kicking deer held in a headlock. And it said it scared me so bad I froze. I only coasted to a stop and could hear it crunching through the thick woods for a short time. I said, it says I shook like a leaf, regained control, drove down the road, turned around, and went back the way I came. It says I went back a week later and took a couple of pictures from my truck window. My family, I told my family, made a post on Facebook even. Nobody seems to believe me. And that's the sad part about this, is that people, get ridiculed out here. And they're just, everybody's, oh, Bigfoot, ho, 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 and it's sad. Anyway, so let me keep reading. See, it says that thing had ran uphill from a creek gully, crossed the road, and 3 running steps fast. And it was as tall as my 94 F-150 roof crouch running. So basically, it was like it was in a running pattern. It wasn't like standing fully up. It was actually kind of bent down a little bit. It says I can look at my Google photos from that exact date. That date were taken a week later of the gully and the fence had hopped. It says I'm not interested in going into the woods or any bit of publicity at all. It says I just wanted to share my story. When I drove back there, I got the total shivers, and normally I'm not scared of much. It says thanks, D. So D, if you're listening to this podcast, number one, I would never ridicule you. Number two, this is amazing. Thank you for all the detail you put into this. If anybody knows who D is, feel free to have him contact me. I would love to hear more about his story. And if he's interested, I know he says he's not interested in any publicity, but I'd love to have him on the podcast to share his story, especially because this is real close to where I live. So, anyways, let's take a look at where we think this happened. This is Gransbury. Where is Gransbury? All right, so you can see Gransbury is this little town up here. So let's find the Brazos River. The Brazos River comes across here. When was this report made? What year? This is 2019, so this is fairly recent. So here's the Brazos River. And what was he doing again? He was driving across the ridge. Let's see, I know, blah, 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 in front of me. This guy, blah, blah. It doesn't really say where exactly he was. So I'm guessing he might have been on the outskirts of Granbury, maybe out here somewhere. It's a big area. But if I was going to go looking for Bigfoot out here, I would probably go out here somewhere into this greener patch. Like there's the Hidden Hills Ranch area. I'm sure that's private, but look at all this area out here. There's ponds, looks like, and there's all this greenery. And so there's definitely possibly a water source and a food source for them. And yeah, I mean, this whole area is pretty green. And then again, along the Brazos River, here's another big section of green, a lot of greenness over here. Now there's homes and stuff out here now. And imagine along the river, there's quite a few places where people have settled. You can just see all the homes along here now. And this is probably a place where they use the river to ski and whatever else. And, this is probably like a resort area. So I'd be interested to find out where exactly he was along the Brazos River. And was it more up here out of town? I'd just like to know more because there's not a lot of, looks like that town's very small. Ransbury is kind of a small little town, and it's hard to see if there's any like areas where it's really forested. It's not really. Looks like there's a lot of fracking operations. All those little square pads you see out there is pretty much fracking. So there's a lot of fracking. I have a couple of friends that are in the oil industry, and some of them have seen Bigfoot. Some of them say that, I don't know what you're talking about. They just like look at me weird when I ask them, have you ever seen a Bigfoot? But I mean, look at the area around that area. I mean, it's all green. It's all really green. And if we scoot back out more, again, this is not very far from that other location we were just talking about a minute ago. But you can just see as you come down here, there's another pen here. So you're kind of starting to see some clusters along here. And then let's see something here. Let me dump. Hold on. Just bear with me for a second here, guys. If I remove, let's see. No, I think I've already removed them. I think this might be a map that I left where all the Bigfoot sightings are. So you can just see the Fort Worth area, just outside the Fort Worth, and then the Brazos River just kind of winds its way down this way. So you got a cluster up towards the Fort Worth area in both directions, both sides of Fort Worth, just outside of Fort Worth, west of Fort Worth, and then north of Fort Worth. You got a cluster out here in San Angelo. And then you come down here into the Austin and San Antonio area. There's another cluster. And now I'm starting to see another cluster in and around my area. I don't know why these keep disappearing every time I get closer. But I mean, look at the cluster of Bigfoot sightings in and around my area. And this all pretty much follows the Brazos River all the way down. So that's interesting. Definitely going to have to continue to figure out what's going on and see, if I can figure out more. But yeah, another good day of finding new reports. So there's a lot of reports, and then again, like I said, my friend he doesn't know what it is. There's something that has recently attacked his cattle. If you're from the Brazos Valley, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's been some cattle mutilations, which is going to be one of our shows. I'm not sure if it's going to be the first one, but we're going to we're actively investigating cattle mutilations in our area. We're trying to get out there and see if we can document what's going on. And recently, there's been a lot of strange things seen in the skies. We'll just call them UFOs because at this point, I can't say they're an airplane or they're this or that or whatever. I can say they aren't the moon. I can say that there are a lot of things that they aren't, but I just don't know what they are. So again, they're just unknown to me, which is what unidentified flying objects. So, anyways, we're going to kind of leave it here. I just want to thank you guys for watching and listening. If you'll do me a favor, hit that notification bell down below. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. Have you had and it doesn't have to be Bigfoot, have you had some kind of paranormal experience in Brazos Valley or along the Brazos River? I want to know. The more I do research on the Brazos River, more I'm finding more and more and more reports, and more people are coming up to me, either at work or other places that know that I'm into the Bigfoot research, or they see my hat and they go, "Oh, you're a Bigfoot researcher," and they start to share information with me. So, and we've had again a lot of comments on our Facebook page. We've also had a lot of people contact us through our website and then privately through my texting or email. So thank you, everybody who's been communicating with us and giving us information. Again, your information will remain private, even on the show, if it will get your permission to share your stories. If you don't want to appear on camera or you don't want your information out there, but you're still willing to share your story, we'd love to talk to you. Or if you are willing to come on camera, we'd love to, again, talk to you. And that's basically what we're going to do on our show is we're going to try and kind of tell the history of what's been going on in the area, talk to possible witnesses, and then go investigate it. And then we're going to take it a step further and we're going to try and see if we can debunk any of it. So I hate that word, debunk. We're going to try and find alternative explanations for what's going on. So anyways, we appreciate you guys watching. Again, thanks for liking, subscribing, and hitting that notification bell and leaving us a nice comment. And we will catch you guys on the next one.